Good evening, America. What happened on New Year's Day wasn't random and it wasn't a coincidence. Two military veterans, both from Fort Bragg, both using electric vehicles, both striking on the same day. And the FBI wants you to believe that there's no connection. Well, tonight we're exposing the alarming truth behind these coordinated attacks, the mysterious gunshot wound that preceded the Cybertruck explosion, and why the mainstream media is desperately trying to bury the story. Now, the evidence points to something far more sinister than lone wolf attacks, and it leads straight to the heart of our military institutions. Now, America, your security has been compromised by a system that's failing to protect you. Just like our currency was compromised when Nixon took us off the gold standard, our national security has been undermined by policies that put politics above protection. While the FBI tries to downplay these coordinated attacks, smart Americans are doing what central banks are doing, preparing for the worst. That's why I trust Global Gold Investments to protect my family's future. Call that number on the screen, 888-700-4148, and receive their exclusive, now their 2025 Protect Your Wealth and Security Guide. Get it free. Don't wait for the next attack. Secure your family's future with physical gold. That number, 888-700-4148, or visit IRAGoldproof.com and mention Next News for up to $1,000 in free silver. All right, 20 hours ago, President Trump posted on Truth Social. What did he say? He said, "Our country is a disaster, a laughingstock all over the world. This is what happens when you have open borders with weak, ineffective, and virtually non-existent leadership. The DOJ, FBI, and Democrat state and local prosecutors have not done their job. They're incompetent and corrupt, having spent all their waking hours unlawfully tackling their political opponent, me, rather than focusing on protecting Americans from the outside and inside violent scum that have infiltrated all aspects of our government and our nation itself. Democrats should be ashamed of themselves for allowing this to happen to our country. The CIA must get involved now before it's too late. The USA is breaking down. A violent erosion of safety, national security, and democracy is taking place all across our nation. Only strength and powerful leadership will stop it. See you on January 20th. Make America great again." Donald Trump post from his Truth Social. And there's the picture of the Cybertruck that was detonated in front of Trump Tower in Las Vegas. The Vegas PD uncovered the plot twist of a century. Turns out the suspect had a bullet hole in his head before the Cybertruck decided to go full Michael Bay outside of Trump Tower. What's next? Well, we don't know. But it looks like there's a lot of questions. And the FBI says there's no link to the New Orleans and Las Vegas terrorist attacks, despite from Savannah Hernandez. She says both attackers serving the same military base, both renting electric vehicles from Turo, both committing their terrorist attacks on the same day. The more that comes out, the more I am convinced that the link is the FBI, Savannah Hernandez. And now we have this. We know now that the name of the deceased Las Vegas Cybertruck driver is Matthew Livelsberger. Local 9 reports the suspect had a military background. Listen.
I'll step out of the way. Sources confirmed to News 5 that a Colorado Springs man was the driver of a Cybertruck that exploded in front of the Trump International Hotel this morning in Las Vegas. They say 37-year-old Matthew Livelsberger died inside the vehicle. El Paso County records show that Livelsberger has several addresses in our area, and they're now the focus of a federal investigation. FBI agents are at one of his addresses on the east side of the city. That's where we find News 5's Maggie Bryan, who's been there for hours. Maggie, what are you seeing?
Megan, this is about all we can see of this scene right now. I'll step out of the way. You can see some of those flashing lights behind me. Those are coming from a few law enforcement vehicles blocking off the entrance to this townhome complex. Now, this is near Stetson Hills Boulevard and Mark Shuffle Road on the east side of Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs police confirmed to us that FBI agents are here investigating this home. We have learned that Livelsberger is connected to this townhome. Senior law enforcement officials say he lived in Colorado Springs and was the driver of the Cybertruck. Our team has seen agents out here since about 7:30 this evening. We've also been back and forth to the Stetson Hills Police substation about 3 miles down the road, where we've seen a few armored vehicles in the parking lot there. We'll be out here talking with law enforcement and trying to get any more information we can tonight. For now, in Colorado Springs, I'm Maggie Bryan, News 5.
From Colorado Springs, here is the Intel Point Alert FBI investigation underway at Townhouse. Investigation learned through a source the person who rented the truck and drove it to Las Vegas has lived in Colorado Springs, military experience. According to the reporter, citing sources, suspect is 37-year-old Matthew Livelsberger from Colorado Springs. And this appears to be, looks like it might be a LinkedIn. This is his LinkedIn account. Operations Director, Intelligence Manager, Remote Autonomous Systems, SUAS Special Forces Green Beret. Remote Autonomous Systems. Think about that for a second. Okay. We have a Cybertruck that can pretty much drive itself, and it's loaded with fireworks and incendiary devices. And supposedly this man was found inside the vehicle. Now, not just that. We find out, of course, what happened in New Orleans. Virtually the same time, same day, the FBI knew the suspect had a flag and started yesterday by lying to the American people.
This is not a terrorist event. What it is right now is their improvised explosive devices that was found. And we are working on confirming if this is a viable device or not. As Chief Kirkpatrick said, we're asking everyone to stay away from Bourbon Street, specifically from Canal Street to St. Anne. That is my ask. Once again, stay away from Bourbon Street, Canal Street, all the way to St. Anne until we can figure out what is going on. Our goal is to provide you additional information at the 11 a.m. press conference. Thank you so much, and we will be in touch.
Yes, I will say that we want our community and our visitors to continue enjoying. There's so much to enjoy about New Orleans, and we are going to make sure that our routes in the Superdome are safe today for the game. And yet we had this tragic event, and we're sorry again to everyone in our community. But we do want you to go about the day, as we say, just stay away from bourbon. Okay?
Look at these DEI hires there in New Orleans. Now, what's interesting is we've got the family of the accused Trump Hotel truck bomber, Matthew Livelsberger, says he was a big Trump supporter. Interesting. The uncle told The Independent that he's confused by the explosion because his nephew could rig a bomb to blow up half of the hotel if he really wanted to do the damage. He used to have all patriotic stuff on Facebook. He was 100% loving the country. He loved Trump and was always a very, very patriotic soldier, patriotic American, and is one of the reasons he was in Special Forces for so many years. It wasn't just one tour of duty. Let's hear how MSN framed this.
This is along, you can see the Cybertruck highlighted there.
So this is he makes one pass, and then I believe, yes.
So through extensive surveillance video, we were able to track him leaving there, and we know that he went to several different places along Las Vegas Boulevard, and he spent some time in a parking lot of a business near Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard. We didn't have a video of the truck pulling back onto Las Vegas Boulevard from the sands. See that there? That's north on the boulevard from Sands at 8:39, where he then immediately heads to the Trump Hotel, pulls into the valet area, and as of course you all know, the explosion occurs within 17 seconds of his arrival at the valet. There's some additional investigative updates that are going to be provided to you.
But his family is very confused. They say it doesn't make sense. He had the skills and ability to make something more, let's say, efficient. His skills were enormous from what he'd been taught in the military. He could have fashioned something that would have been obliterate half the hotel if he wanted to really hurt others. And of course, he was in a Tesla Cybertruck, which virtually contained the blast to begin with. And then, the same night, there was a event in New York City, 13 victims at the Amazura nightclub located in Queens, New York. Crime scene set up, unknown condition of the victims. So just mass pandemonium occurring one moment after another. Robbie Starbuck, things just keep getting weirder with this. The sheriff of the Las Vegas Metro Police says the victim of the Cybertruck explosion suffered to the head before the individual sustained. Well, let's just listen.
Went to sleep last night. My name is Kevin McMahill. I'm the sheriff of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and we are collectively here this morning to give you an update on the Cybertruck explosion at the Trump Hotel on Las Vegas Boulevard yesterday. Our work never stopped. As many of you went to sleep last night, and I just want to give you an update on a lot of what it is that we found through the processing of the Cybertruck. This is a joint investigation involving the FBI, the ATF, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and these folks worked through the night and found a lot of stuff that is very useful for this investigation. As you look at this Cybertruck here, we had to transport this down to our fleet services so that we could really get through this thing. And I remind you that the subject inside wasn't able to be removed for a very long period of time because he was burnt beyond recognition. And so as we continue to move through this, I'm going to talk a little bit about his identity and what we believe, but I would like to highlight a couple of things that the teams found inside of the Cybertruck that are useful to the investigation. And that, first and foremost, is a military identification. We also found a passport. We found a desert...
Definitive proof, right? Burned beyond recognition. But, hey, they found a passport in the rubble. A familiar story.
.50 caliber semi-automatic pistol. And if you'll notice on a lot of these guns that we're going to talk about here, they're almost just burnt beyond recognition as well. There's a SLR model B30 semi-automatic firearm. Number of fireworks that were still in the vehicle that had to be removed. Notably, we found an iPhone and a smartwatch, and then several credit cards were also in the name of our subject. Our subject is 37-year-old Matthew Livelsberger. He's of Colorado Springs, Colorado, born July 22nd of 1987.
Oh, it just keeps getting crazier. Elon Musk says someone or a group turned this guy into you can see what it says on the screen there. We need to find the source of the mind virus. And of course, the media in overdrive, creating their own narrative. Doge designer media headlines are misleading audiences, suggesting the Cybertruck caught fire or exploded due to malfunction. The truth is, explosives were placed in the back and intentionally detonated, likely as part of a terrorist act. Don't fall for the misinformation. Tesla Cybertruck catches fire outside Trump Hotel. Tesla Cybertruck reportedly catches fire outside Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. One dead after Cybertruck explodes outside a Trump Hotel, Las Vegas. One dead after Tesla Cyber... See, like, this is The Guardian, this is the New York Times, Microsoft Network, and something else. Inkle. Yeah. See how they're painting the narrative? Yeah. Holy crap. We also find out that he was a Ukraine soldier recruiter, just like the second Trump would-be assassin. Are Trump assassination attempts connected to these acts of terrorism? Johnny MAGA, holy smokes, the Cybertruck bomber was apparently setting up recently retired special forces guys with contracts to go to Ukraine. Yeah. $550 per day, lodging and travel provided, a quick turn 30-day contract. I've got a top 18D recently, ETSD, who's looking for just this opportunity. Send him your way. Elon Musk has deployed a team from Tesla to attempt to recover in-cabin video footage from the Cybertruck, according to the Las Vegas authorities. Once again, doing the FBI's job for them. In-cabin video is not remotely accessible by Tesla without the owner specifically enabling the data.
In the back of the truck,
It was in that vehicle, sort of vented out and up, but it didn't even damage the glass doors at the Trump. So I'm not sure what that means. I also know that there's a number of unexploded pieces of the things that he had inside of that vehicle, and so I just don't think that it was done as well as he was expecting it to be done. But go ahead.
Sofia Rodriguez with Univision Vegas. I was wondering, were you able to recover the video from the Cybertruck, or was that destructive?
So the question is, are we able to recover the video from the Cybertruck? And many of you may know that those Cybertrucks contain a tremendous number of cameras. Mr. Musk has sent out a number of his folks that will be arriving here this afternoon with the intent to try to capture the part of that captured all of the video from inside of the truck. Sir?
So we're going to find out. There's going to be more video. Elon Musk posting, the evil knuckleheads picked the wrong vehicle for a terrorist attack. Cybertruck actually contained the explosion and directed the blast upwards. Not even the glass doors of the lobby were broken. And then we have this. The FBI is claiming that both the New Orleans and Las Vegas attackers likely acted alone. However, there are some unbelievable parallels. Both U.S. Army veterans served the Afghan war, stationed at the same base, used Turo car sharing app, and electric trucks. But of course, no connection at all. And speaking of New Orleans, this also happened just a few hours ago. A fire in the New Orleans French Quarter, the cause currently unknown. Locals are particularly concerned about the situation given the fire set at the New Orleans attackers' Airbnb yesterday, according to reports. So another fire. It is unknown if it's related to what happened in New Orleans, but certainly there will be investigations. And this, I think, video clip is probably one of the most telling clips that have surfaced after these attacks. Senator John Kennedy delivers a cryptic response when asked about the possibility of more attacks.
Just a final question here for not just people in Louisiana that are watching, but people coast to coast that are watching tonight. Are you getting the sense that there's any threat of any other potential attacks tonight on any other major cities?
I can't answer that. I can, but I won't.
I cannot answer that. I can, but I won't.
New Orleans safe?
I can't answer that. I can, but I won't.
Is New Orleans safe tonight?
Yes, but we're still in the process of tightening up security. We're still in the process of doing everything that we possibly can. The governor's called out the National Guard. We've got more FBI coming. We've got Homeland Security people. We've got state troopers who've done an awesome job. We've got the NOPD. We're doing everything we can. But like I say, there's a lot of information out there. Some of it's accurate.
Okay.
So he's speaking volumes about the current state of national security. I can, but I won't. Clearly, he knows something. And staying in New Orleans for now, New Orleans terror attack suspect Shamsud Din Jabbar apparently intended to kill his family, but was concerned media attention wouldn't be focused on the war between believers and disbelievers. The FBI says he posted multiple videos online. Here are some of the latest developments.
On the FBI team and our law enforcement partners here are also reviewing hundreds of hours of surveillance and other video from both the French Quarter and other locations. As for a timeline, at this point, investigators believe Jabbar picked up the rented F-150 in Houston, Texas on December 30th. He then drove from Houston to New Orleans on the evening of the 31st, and he posted several videos to an online platform proclaiming his support for ISIS. There were 5 videos posted on Jabbar's Facebook account, which are time-stamped beginning at 1:29 a.m. and the last at 3:02 a.m. In the first video, Jabbar explains he originally planned to harm his family and friends, but was concerned the news headlines would not focus on the, quote, war between the believers and the disbelievers, end quote. Additionally, he stated he had joined ISIS before this summer. He also provided a will and testament.
Now, I want everyone to be totally aware that these events could be used to amplify the police state measures, the surveillance state. And there's already calls for that now. And one of my big concerns is as we go into the inauguration, and we already know that there's going to be mass roundups for deportation. What's to say that Biden doesn't issue some emergency power and some surveillance power gets extended into that? And now there's justification that's being amplified by the media to lock down our freedoms. This is what we need to be fully and acutely aware of at this moment. Okay, so every narrative that's being pushed by the media has to be questioned, like we always do. Because the media and the authorities are 95% wrong all the time. There's an agenda. We know the FBI has been politicized and it's been weaponized against President Trump. What's to say? I mean, we are just, 18 days from the inauguration? Come on, guys. Las Vegas police, Cybertruck bomber. We also discovered through the coroner's office the individual had sustained a gunshot wound prior to the detonation of the vehicle. One of the handguns was found at his feet. Some question that perhaps the way that the vehicle was detonated was by the actual initiation of the gunshot itself. It's still unclear. Also, what happened today? How crazy is this? A portion of I-85 in Greenville County, South Carolina was closed due to a reported bomb threat involving a large truck. That was just 4 hours ago. And then there was this guy. Chilling timing. FBI's record bomb bust comes as terror hits U.S. cities, Mariona Fall. FBI found 150 plus explosives at Brad Spafford's Virginia farm, including pipe bombs marked lethal. The suspect told neighbors he was preparing for something that he would not be able to do alone. And here are photographs of some of the elements that were found in Virginia. And then on top of it all, suspicious vehicle at the Capitol building 10 hours ago.
News Fort midday. Hey there, this is Joseph Omo with NBC4. We are right outside of the Capitol, and you see all of those flashing police lights over there, the firefighters, the ambulances. Capitol Police just tweeted out about 15 minutes ago that they are investigating a suspicious vehicle. That is all we know, but they are pushing the perimeter out. You can see officers over here closing off the walkways to 3rd Street Northwest here as they continue this investigation. We're going to keep you updated, and we're going to have a live report on News Fort midday at 11 o'clock in about half an hour.
One thing after another. All the media does is lie. Here's a meme that was posted. Blame the truck, right? Just like those headlines I read to you. But here's another curious element about Matthew Livelsberger. Now, his family said that he was a Trump supporter. They always say that, right? When it's convenient for the narrative. Matthew Livelsberger's ex-wife, however, Sarah, is an avid social democrat Bernie Sanders supporter who believes Trump is white ISIS for restrictions on immigration from some Muslim countries that many billionaires are shitbags. Sarah Livelsberger with the deceased, sharing Bernie Sanders posts on her Facebook. This billionaire explains it better than I have ever tried to, probably because he's a billionaire. Here she is saying Trump equals white ISIS. Brilliant. And she is sharing a clip from The Daily Show from 2015. Here's the headline from the Washington Post blaming the truck for what that person did. Truck rams New Orleans crowd. That's the headline. Matt Kim. Okay, this reiterates what I said. Tread carefully as the narrative thickens to call a U.S. citizen a terrorist because of the next logical step is mass surveillance of American social profiles, histories, and communications to make sure this never happens again. And it's all for your safety, of course, right? Before you know it, we are in another war in the Middle East with Patriot Act 2.0 and beefed up DHS. I understand people's anger and concern given limited facts and heavy propaganda. Pray for wisdom, patience, and discernment. It's only the first day of 2025. That was posted 24 hours ago. And remember what they said with all the drones in New Jersey? What was going on with that? They wanted more surveillance power for the drones. They were going to enact legislation. Remember that? Seems to line up. And then we have this. Going back to what happened in New Orleans, a flag in the back of the truck. Sarah Adams specifically said the next attacks will be ISIS, Al-Qaeda combined, focusing on ground mass casualty. We were all warned of this by Sarah Adams. This clip has gone viral, and we need to be paying very close attention to what she's saying. Listen.
We do it Monday, we do it Tuesday, bombers are going to be Al-Qaeda. Their types are going to be ISIS, because then if they're caught, change basically some of their movements in the hotel.
How many people, how many fighters do you think we can expect in each attack?
Well, the 1,000 is all of them. So we're calling it's an Al-Qaeda planned attack, but within those 1,000 terrorists, some of them are ISIS, because they want ISIS to be blamed. I think the more of the fighter types are going to be ISIS, because then if they're caught, then they talk, I'm ISIS. I think more of the suicide bombers are going to be Al-Qaeda.
I think these attacks will happen simultaneously throughout the United States, or will they be one day here, next day here, another one over here next week?
So they want them coordinated. I don't know if coordinated means all at the same time, or if coordinated means we do it Monday, we do it Tuesday, we do it Wednesday, we do it Thursday, we do it Friday, just do 5 straight days. But they want it coordinated.
What kind of places do you think they're going to target?
So this is what's complicated. So Al-Qaeda's preference, as you can imagine, is symbols of the U.S. or anything that causes economic damage, right? So capital is a great symbol. I feel like bridges or any kind of public transportation always matters, because it puts costs against us and it causes fear. But here's where it gets complicated. So remember, the terrorists might have their goal is they're going to attack the metro in D.C., right? But remember, some of these terrorists are going to be ISIS. And remember, they can change location. So the ISIS guy might go down the metro and say, there's not many people down here. I'll kill 20, but there's a event going on. I'm going to go up there, right? Because ISIS is a little different. ISIS just wants mass casualty. In my opinion, terrorists in general just leaving Afghanistan, a lot of them are coming up through the Darien Gap to the border. And there was a big push, right? Get in the U.S. while you can. Now, not all those Al-Qaeda's attackers, right? But they came in with fake Afghan passports. They came in with fake Syrian passports, fake Turkish passports. Those are the kind of the 3 preferences, because they're easiest to get. And then, if our Border Patrol agents, a lot of them haven't been overseas, right? If an Egyptian shows up at the border with a Syrian passport, is he going to know that person was Egyptian? I mean, his passport says Syrian, right?
Now, to be clear, these people were U.S. Army veterans who were radicalized. Representative Mike Waltz, incoming National Security Advisor, says Trump's cabinet picks need to be in place on day 1. Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, and Kristi Noem all need to be confirmed quickly. Our national security is at risk. You see what's happening here? A heightened sense of terror is accelerating through Washington, D.C.
Both veterans. What is it that you are going to be looking for as the feds start to give us more information?
Well, number one, that external plotting versus internal radicalization, how that happened. Number 2, I find it an amazing coincidence, but I don't think it is a coincidence that you had 2 attacks renting from the same site, both veterans, you could have a more radicalized and broader cell. Don't forget, you also had an Afghan that was stopped from making election day attacks. So this is why getting President Trump's cabinet in is so important.
We need Governor Noem at DHS. We need Kash Patel at FBI. We need Pete Hegseth at DOD. This is an across the government look. Marco Rubio at State, and of course, Ratcliffe at CIA and Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard at DNI. That has to be in place day one, guys, because this is a moment in transition of vulnerability, and President Trump is going to project, because he is a leader of strength, the narrative that we project on day one will be just important, and that's having our people in place.
Here's some video from that event in Greenville. I-85, Greenville County, South Carolina, is closed both directions due to a bomb threat involving an 18-wheeler. Police are asking citizens to avoid the area in the coming hours. CNN reports the Cybertruck driver involved in the hotel was a master sergeant serving with the 10th Special Forces Group.
And he was on. Haley has confirmed in just the last few minutes that he is an active duty U.S. Special Forces soldier assigned to 10th Special Forces Group, according to 4 U.S. officials, that he holds the rank of Master Sergeant, a senior enlisted rank, these officials said. 3 officials said he was on active duty serving in Germany, and he was on leave when this happened on New Year's Day. He has not been identified publicly, and authorities are still trying to work out whether this was a terrorist attack. Now, just to recap a little bit of what happened behind us just 24 hours ago, approximately, there are still police presence here around the valet area of where you pull into the Trump International Hotel just off of the Vegas Strip. This Cybertruck that he allegedly rented was rented from Colorado from the Turo rental platform. Authorities say that he drove it here to Las Vegas by 7:30 a.m. on New Year's Day, that he drove up and down the Strip, and then about an hour before the explosion drove past the Trump Hotel as well. And police did make note that the damage was really limited because of the body construction of this Tesla Cybertruck. Haley.
And then we have this. New Orleans District Attorney Jason Williams is calling for, ready for this? Here it is. Jason Williams is calling for more UK-like surveillance in the aftermath of the attack. The United Kingdom has used mass CCTV cameras to implement state-like surveillance of its citizens. Here we go. Here comes the narrative.
Country. How we handle things are going to have to change. Just after 9/11, I remember a time when I could run from my car to the gate to catch a flight. After 9/11, we realized we need to do things very, very differently so that we can all arrive at our destination safely. I think you're going to see a lot of things change in the city of New Orleans. And actually, I think you're going to see a lot of things change in this country in terms of how we handle large-scale events, where there's pedestrian access and where vehicles are allowed. I think you're going to see things change in terms of the level of surveillance that we have in this country. We've pushed back against some of that. But when you look at places like the UK and other European places where CCTV is very commonplace and used proactively so that it can look for signs or indications of an attack, I think you're going to start seeing those things in this city because I'm going to be pushing for them. And you're going to probably see them in a lot of other places that are destination cities like the city of New Orleans.
Jason, will you be going to the game tonight? And do you think that it was the right call to give a deadline, essentially, to this investigation?
Things are going to have to change.
Things are going to have to change. The FBI, 10 hours ago, conducted a call with House and Senate Homeland Security committees in which there were 3 takeaways. Shamsuddin Jabbar was inspired by ISIS but not directed by them. There was zero intel on Jabbar before the attack, and they now believe that he acted alone.
Told Fox News. Hosni is live on Capitol Hill with the very latest. Hi there, Aisha.
Hi, Julie. We're just getting some new information from this FBI phone call that was ongoing with House and Senate members of the Homeland Security committees, as well as the Louisiana delegation. And I can tell you that something that they've learned, this is according to sources that were on this call, they just told Fox News, that something that they just learned was that apparently the FBI is claiming that they had no intelligence on Jabbar before this attack. They had zero intelligence on him. It appears to be so that they were not tracking him. Also, the FBI told these members that he was, quote unquote, inspired by ISIS, but they do not have evidence to lead them to believe that he was directed by ISIS. They're still looking into that, but so far they told members today that he was inspired by this terrorist organization, not necessarily exactly directed by this terrorist organization. Again, these two big headlines coming out of this phone call as members are trying to wrap their heads around how this could have happened. They were briefed by the assistant director of the FBI's counterterrorism division, David Scott, and they've got a lot of questions, other questions specifically about what went wrong in New Orleans with security preparations, those bollards we've been talking about for the last 24 hours. They weren't functioning at the time. That allowed the suspect to drive onto Bourbon Street. But again, more widely speaking, is there a risk for more attacks? Are there other people involved? And I believe we're going to find out from the FBI here in a few moments that they believe that perhaps there were not other people involved, or at least so far that's what they think. This is what Senator John Kennedy told me last night when I tried to ask him that very question. What does he think is going on here? Listen here.
I can't answer that. I can't answer that, but I shouldn't. I'm going to say it again, Aisha. We're giving the FBI and Homeland Security a reasonable amount of time to do their job. And by God, they're going to do their job, and they're going to catch these people. And we're going to know a whole lot more in the next 48 hours.
Again, we're going to find out a little bit more in this upcoming FBI briefing, Julie. But again, I can tell you two things coming out of this phone call with members is that the FBI is claiming they had no intelligence on Jabbar before the attack, and that they believe that Jabbar was inspired by ISIS, not necessarily actively directed by the terrorist organization. More to come as soon as I find out. Julie.
Yeah, more to come. FBI would have never admitted that this was an ISIS attack in New Orleans had random people not taken photos of the flag and uploaded it to social media. Here's a meme for you.
This is, first of all, we do know that the city of New Orleans was impacted by a terrorist attack.
A few moments later.
This is not a terrorist event. What it is right now is their improvised explosive devices that was found. And we are...
Yeah, which one is it, right? Now check this out, okay? This is 2 minutes away from the individual's house. Let's see, this is... he lived 2 minutes away from a mosque, apparently. You can see must be a billboard there, or that must be the actual sign for one of the individuals there. It says, CT investigators tell me they're following leads. The Bourbon Street terrorist was radicalized by a mosque in North Houston that actively converts inmates inside the Texas Department of Corrections. And they believe that he recently traveled to the Brotherhood headquarters in Cairo. That's from Paul Sperry, reporting that fact. And Luke Rutkowski making a point, not suspicious at all, as Las Vegas police officers identify the suspect by a military ID, and guess what? A passport that was found in the vehicle because the body was burned beyond recognition. Law enforcement sources have confirmed Matt Livelsberger, Colorado Springs, was the Trump Las Vegas Cybertruck bomber. Here is a picture, and apparently this is, he had a curious pro-Ukrainian t-shirt on in that photograph. And the Capitol Police reportedly responding to a suspicious vehicle. We told you about that as well. And extra security has now been beefed up at Trump Tower, Chicago, as of 5 p.m. And on top of that, nothing to see here, just another significant piece of American infrastructure miraculously burning down again, this time an oil refinery in Texas but the list keeps growing. The only logical conclusion one can make is America is under attack from within. So an oil refinery is burning in Texas at the same time. And then there was this. I mean, I don't know if these are all connected. I mean, this is just the chaos that we're opening the year with, right? Plane crashes into a commercial warehouse near Fullerton Airport in Fullerton, California. Casualties reported. Fire department operating with a 4-alarm response. So this could have just been, this was near an airport. It could have just been a pilot error. But, combine it with the oil refinery fire. God knows what's going on here. Dr. Shannon Croner, a friend of mine, this is getting way more convoluted. Did he do something to himself and then detonate, or did someone do it to him, place him in the car, and set the car to drive to the hotel? Cameras everywhere, and valet staff would have seen or heard the shots. And Jack Posobiec pointing out that in New Orleans, at 6 a.m., in New Orleans, officers found an explosive device near the cathedral in the French Quarter. They discovered 2 devices and safely detonated them both. So devices were planted around the cathedral there. Patriot Voice, do not allow the Mockingbird fake news media or politicians to gaslight you into thinking there is a Muslim problem which we need to go to war in the Middle East to solve. Keep that in mind as the narrative develops. It seems like the events were planned to bring in a surveillance state, but surely that can't be the case, Salty Goat says. And then there was this in Austin, Texas. MJ Truth Ultra, shots fired at Lakeline Mall in Austin, Texas. Please ask the public to stay clear of the area. This was just 3 hours ago. And as more information became available, it appears as this was just a dispute, some thugs in the food court, but just more chaos. Mindy Robinson, she says it's become clear the Tesla Cybertruck explosion in Vegas was an act of pro-leftist terrorism, whether the fake news media wants to admit it or not. It wasn't just loaded with fireworks. It was loaded with all kinds of explosives and combustibles. So it couldn't have just been an accident. There's a symbolism of Elon. This is a great take. And this was the first thing I thought of when I heard about this. A Cybertruck and Trump's hotel, right? The symbolism of Elon's Tesla truck exploding in front of the Trump Tower. Luckily, whoever got the plan didn't figure out how these trucks are built and how it was probably the worst vehicle to try to do an attack with, which is good news for everyone around it, except for the driver inside. She says, speaking of, you want me to believe a tech-savvy Green Beret who specialized in drones was this bad at making an IED and managed to blow himself up as well in the process? Your average redneck could have done better. And where's the security video? It happened right before. Authorities were pretty quick to release what happened during and after. Was this guy already dead? Was he with anyone beforehand? Is anyone with authority actually going to do any real investigating, or should we file it under Las Vegas as an attack? The government covered up because one way or another they had a hand in it. Let's see what the CNN port she
was clear to also revealed what was inside the truck, explosives that included fireworks, gas tanks, and camping fuel, and authorities believe that that was connected to a detonation system controlled by the driver. We're also hearing this same sentiment from Elon Musk, who tweeted out that they have now confirmed that the explosion was caused by very large fireworks and or a bomb carried in the bed of the rented Cybertruck and is unrelated to the vehicle itself. So he was clear to say that this was not an issue with the Cybertruck. And the sheriff also earlier said that they are checking for secondary devices. They're investigating many different leads, but he was clear to say that there does not appear to be any further threat to the...
Any further threat. The suspect in yesterday's attack, according to Right Angle News, suspect in yesterday's attacks on Bourbon Street in New Orleans and Trump Tower in Vegas both served at Fort Bragg, the same military base that Ryan Routh visited over 100 times before attempting to take Donald Trump's life. Now, there's a lot of people saying that Routh visited the same military base. I'm not sure if that's in fact true or not. But you know what's even crazier? Here's what just doesn't make any sense to me. Makes no sense to me. I'm going to get to this guy's clip here in a second, but look at this. This was posted. This is the New York Post. They got an exclusive tour of the New Orleans terrorist home, where they found bomb-making station and a Quran open to a chilling passage about martyrdom. Now, can someone tell me, on what planet do they allow news crews in to an active crime scene? This makes no sense. You want to see this? Oh, it's bizarre. I mean, it's almost as if they're bringing the cameras in to set up this narrative and document it all.
We are here inside the New Orleans terrorist home. You can see that it's been clearly destroyed, the door at least, from the FBI raid yesterday. But if we walk through the home, we see some signs of what he was up to. He had this work area here, lots of different chemicals splayed around, and different electronics. This is, again, a work setup. Left receipts, just very unkempt in here. If we go over here, actually, you can see the Department of Justice documents here, the search warrant, and the property that they recorded here, which seems to be a lot of chemicals. Again, just left in disarray.
I think this is Jenny Terre. She's the one from the New York Post that's doing this tour. It's as if she just left her yoga class to go and tour this facility. Hey, get Janie out of her yoga class. We got to send her down there.
There's a bedroom back here, and what appears to be his collection of religious materials, his Qurans, an open Quran with a passage there, as well as even the Bible here, but mostly books on Islam, and his prayer rug just to the left of me here. And if we go back, there's another bedroom here. You can see he left all these belongings, contact lenses, personal belongings, his bathroom. This seems to be some sort of workspace, again, with other chemicals here. The light's still on, some kind of station set up here. We're not really sure what that was for, in what we can assume was also a bedroom. You can see clothes left here, and just a sign that someone was here up until those last few moments when neighbors said he left just before the New Year's holiday, saying he was done with his lease, it was up, and he was on his way to New Orleans where he would live there. Didn't take any furniture because he said his new home would be furnished. That's all we know so far.
I don't know, man. This whole thing stinks. Rocco's girl says that the man for Las Vegas, the wife, was an avid Trump hater. In an old Facebook comment, she wrote, "I follow Donald Trump's Twitter just to get my morning motivation to do something horrible." Former Secret Service agent has a pretty bad feeling about what's happening right now.
Okay. I'm a retired Secret Service agent, and I think I know a thing or two about protection and how to get through life safely. I protected presidents for 25 years, and unfortunately, I have a pretty bad feeling about what's happening right now. If you take a close look at this early morning hours event that took place down in Louisiana, and then over later, a few hours later, in Nevada, I don't believe in coincidences. Okay, you might, I don't. I think you should do yourself a favor and check out Sarah Adams. Sean Ryan's interviewed her several times, and she's been talking about what's coming our way in 2025. And if what she's talking about is what just happened, they wasted no time. Get it? You should be ready to protect yourself and defend yourself and your family. I'm not saying live in fear and be a hermit, but when you go out, for God's sake, pay attention to what's going on around you. Unfortunately, I think it's here.
I think it's here. Lovely.
I'm a retired Secret Service.
Another oddity in the midst of oddities. Has anyone ever heard of the media being given access to a crime-related scene, especially for a terrorist? Yeah, that makes no sense. The family of the Las Vegas attacker claims he was a Trump fan. And yes, one day after the event, a reporter is allowed to stroll through the house on a tour. Just casual walking through the house. So many wild things are happening. We got the plane crash. We've got the oil refinery fire. We've got the shooting in New York. We've got Trump Tower in Chicago, amplified security, Capitol Police responding to suspicious vehicles. Everybody is on high alert. This guy apparently went to Cairo. I mean, it's a lot to keep track of here. FBI supposedly looking into it. Calls for amplified surveillance in the United States. An 18-wheeler truck threat. Shutting down the highways. Calls for immediate instatement of Donald Trump's team. We have Sarah Adams' warning that's coming to pass. The Washington Post and the mainstream media all pushing false narratives. Blame the truck, right? Blame the truck. We got this guy in Virginia with 150 plus explosives. Totally separate, totally not related, supposedly. The guy in the Las Vegas event recruiting people for Ukraine, just like Wesley Routh. We got the fire in the French Quarter post-attack in New Orleans. We got this cryptic message from Senator Kennedy. I can speak to it, but I won't. So this is only, what, day 2? Day 2 of the new year. So keep your head on a swivel, folks. Keep your head on a swivel. So here's what's becoming clear. The FBI's narrative is crumbling. Both attackers served at Fort Bragg, both used Turo rentals, both struck on the same day, and had mysterious connections to foreign interests. The real question we need to ask isn't whether these attacks are connected, it's who orchestrated them. Why is the FBI so desperate to label these as isolated incidents, and what do they know that they're not telling us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. While you're standing strong for truth, show your support with our exclusive Mag Avengers gear. It's at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Make sure you gear up, because you never know what's coming down the pipe.